Short. Preston was a foundational artist.
If guacamole is like a light brown color, does that mean that you shouldn't eat it? Because sometimes it oxidizes, so you never really know. Welcome to my channel. Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Exes and this is my channel, Exes Does. Woot. And today we're gonna be talking about, I have no idea, but I made my breakfast and I took you through that journey. The food I make doesn't look good, but it tastes good. I think that goes for anybody who's just making food from home, since it's like not supposed to be posted or photographed anywhere. Most of the time it doesn't look that aesthetic, but it just tastes good, and that's what, you know, is doable for most people. However, when the food does look good and the presentation is pretty nice, it gives people a lot more incentive to want to eat from home, you know, but that's neither here nor there. So if you were kind of grossed out from what I was making, I mean, oh well, you know, you can leave, it's okay. But today, I really have nothing to talk about. I just want to see how you're doing. I guess I could talk about some updates or what's going on in my life. I could talk about like social media stuff I've been catching whiffs of. I could talk about my job. But yeah, I have nothing really to like talk about so much. There's 90 days left to the year. The year's about to end. And wow, like, I guess I should check in with myself and see how I'm doing. I want to say, as far as my channel goes, it's one of those things where you get out what you put into it, and I haven't been as consistent this year. And as far as like personal goals when it comes to fitness and health, I haven't really reached them all the way. And I've changed my goals from wanting to have a particular like physical aesthetic to wanting to feel a particular way. And it's helped a ton. Now when I go and exercise, I think about how it's gonna make me feel that I'm working out more versus how I'm not working out as much. But I don't know, with the job I'm currently working and trying to get this up and running and just being busy overall, it really does take a lot out of me to just kind of work out and just stay consistent with it. Working sucks. And I like my job, don't get me wrong. I like everybody in my job, and I guess I'm performing adequately enough, but it just feels like it takes so much out of your day. It's emotional exhaustion having to deal with work and whatnot. And while on paper, the role I have is well paying, it also just kind of feels like unfulfilling. And I knew that first coming into the job that it was like, this isn't what I'm passionate about. Creating stuff is what I'm passionate about. But I also know that I kind of need my job, not just for the money, but also for the discipline and also for consistency. And just to know that I get myself into a routine, but also like high key for the money, because I'm not gonna be able to survive or live here or anywhere else if I'm not making any money. But it's just tough how much work just takes from your life and how much your whole life is dedicated to working for a company. And nowadays it's even more volatile because the company that you're working for could really let you go tomorrow. And we've seen that all this past year. I don't know what next year is looking like. The government is not being very honest with us about like layoffs and how bad they are, let alone like people just finding jobs. I grieve for college students who are just graduating, trying to enter into this job market. 4 years ago, it felt like a lot. 10 years ago, 8 years ago, it felt like a lot. But now it just feels like it's impossible. I have a LinkedIn and I hate it. I don't go on LinkedIn as much at all anymore. And one of the biggest reasons why is because there's a lot of people, especially when like a layoff season happens, there's a lot of people who are expressing their disdain towards the market who have gotten laid off themselves or who are trying to feed off of the idea that there is a bunch of people who are jobless and trying to sell whatever snake oil they can to this person in order to get them their next dream role. And I also noticed that a lot of companies now, like they're looking at employers and they're looking at their LinkedIn to see how many followers they have and how much engagement they have, and if they're writing articles and making think pieces and posting a lot. And I'm so sorry, but why are you having actual workers move like they're influencers? Why are you having them move like they're influencers and content creators? What even is that about? That's so weird to me. Is that not weird to you? I think it's weird, because if you want me to move like an influencer would, if you want me to move like a content creator would, I might as well just go into business for myself and not have to have all of these followers, these likes, these views, this strong ass portfolio for you guys to hire me, only to let me go in like the next 5 years because, you know, you're doing some restructuring or whatever else. But I don't know. This isn't like disdain towards my current job, because while it is challenging, I'm learning a lot and I really like the leadership there, but it's just a disdain towards the overall market. What sucks is I got into my role around a time where I knew in my life that I needed something to secure myself. Being a content creator in the way I wasn't going to secure myself if I kept doing it, unless I was able to compromise more of myself than I was comfortable with. So I had to make a split decision, figure out what I want to do, got into it, started studying, applied to all these jobs, everything. I came into the market when we were going through a great resignation. People weren't wanting to work for companies like that, and companies were just hiring, mass hiring. These big tech companies over here like, yeah, we'll hire you, $120K a year, no problem. Just throwing money at people. There was one company I worked for that said that they were projected to make, what, a couple $1 million in the next year, now that they've like restructured and grown their business. I had left the company before then, but in like less than 6 months, laid off like nearly half of their organization. Like what are you even, how do you say that you're projected to make this much money? KPIs look good, but then you're laying off half of your employees. Going through my first layoff, I realized how stressful that can be, trying to pay bills, trying to apply for unemployment not being enough, people not being able to afford to exist or live. And I don't know, I just kind of came to the conclusion that job security is, and the only way you can get some form of security is if you're like working 5 jobs. Every video that I see on YouTube is people talking about how the job that they are working is either unfulfilling, they got laid off from their recent job, or they're just struggling to make ends meet. And every single video ends with them saying, I'm going to take a stab at being a content creator because it's ghetto. I feel like we're at the point now where entrepreneurship isn't like wouldn't it be nice if I could run my own business? Entrepreneurship isn't like a dream, it's more like a necessity to survive. Because if you go into business for yourself, you will always know that you have some form of income coming in. But if you are working for a business and you are working for another company, you cannot be guaranteed that you will be staying at that company for the next 10 to 20 years. And it's such a shift from what our parents grew up with, what the boomers grew up with, Gen X maybe even grew up with, maybe even some millennials. Such a stark difference. Things are so volatile. These companies, like, they expect us to have loyalty to them and jump over 3 or 4 hoops just to get a role. And it's like, at what cost when we know you're gonna lay us off in less than 90 days? Like, why would you have us go through that? And then they throw up their arms and they get upset and they're like, oh, well, we just wanna pick the right one. We wanna pick a unicorn or a rock star or whatever, you know, underpay them, not pay them their worth, and then turn around and get butthurt when that person burns out and decides to quit. And then they're like, oh, but we gave you this chance, let it happen. And it's like, you're not paying people their worth, one, and it's just not even worth it anymore. It's sad, but the traditional structure of going to college and getting a regular 9-to-5 is just not it anymore. It's not making people enough money. And it's hard and it's tough. And while I do have my job right now, I worry about that every day. I'm always very anxious about whether or not they might just, like my other job. And so I have to be on my P's and Q's. I have to make sure that I'm doing well. I'm now working over the weekends a little bit, which isn't horrible. Like, it's not like I'm spending like 5 hours, 16 hours of my weekend just working, no. But it's just like, Jesus Christ. I just wish there comes a time where somehow in America we catch some sort of break. What, this is like the 3rd or 4th recession that we've been through? And at this point, let's just call it what it is. It's probably a depression. Things are expensive and no one could afford anything. But people are just making it work. People are surviving. I worry about my partner if he loses his job and what we're gonna do then. It's just a lot of worry, and it feels like there's not enough saving, there's not enough moving out, there's not enough budgeting that you can do to avoid the inevitable of not having enough to live. Well, in the last video I made about this, one person told me that like I was the problem and I was making excuses and la. If you budget and save, you'll have enough money, whatever. And it's like, sure, Jan, sure. It's just getting harder every day. It's getting more difficult. I know it's tough when my family, like my parents, who are boomers, mind you, are like, yeah, it's really tough right now. Like, I get it. I feel kind of gypped as a baby millennial. Yeah, I'm a baby millennial. I was born in '94, so do with that information what you will. But as a baby millennial, realizing that I might not get that house I want. I might not be as financially stable as I want to be. I'll have debt up the wazoo. Even if I get a job that's high paying that will give me some semblance of stability, it still won't be as stable as I think it is if I lose that job in less than 6 months. And then I'm on my ass again. I also find it interesting when jobs are expecting people to work on site, because it lessens the talent pool significantly. Like, you are now picking from your very niche talent pool of bumfuck nowhere, okay? And you're expecting people to like do the job of a rock star instead of just going above and beyond and out of your way, increasing your talent pool and having more remote roles. And I find it interesting when people apply to these on-site roles and you're living in one state and then the role you're applying to is in another one, and how some people will literally uproot their entire lives, pack up, spend money. Sometimes the company gives them money to pack up and move to this location to work for this company, only for some companies to just let them go anyway. Or be like, I'm sorry, but the position isn't available. Are you kidding? Like, that is nasty work. I feel like I'm probably gonna have to move out of this place because it's just not affordable. And my partner says he wants to get a house, and I hope he can get his house. But there's student loan debts that I have to pay. I don't know. Like, I wasn't expecting adulting to be this ghetto. I was just not expecting adulting to be this difficult, to be this hard. I was expecting to have, if anything, just stability and just to be comfortable. And I don't have that. And I'm also seeing that a lot of people my age and younger are feeling the same way and are just getting frustrated and getting reactive because of the climate that we're in. And like I said, I really do hope it gets better. I do, but I just don't see it. I don't see it getting better for a hot little minute. I guess they're banking on AI to be like that new revolutionary product that creates more jobs. But I mean, we're seeing it right now, how it's displacing so many jobs. And not only that, it's not regulated. Like, people are now using voice mods to mimic somebody's voice. People are using footage and altering footage so that it looks like someone. The amount of like CP concerns that have came out of AI, like, it's not regulated, and they're still trying to steamroll it and keep it coming, which is terrifying. with the idea that it's going to make us way more money than any other technology we have right now. And I don't think it's going to provide as many jobs as people want it to. And that's also another reason for concern. So yeah, but anyway, if I could give you some advice, I would, but I'm not gonna hold you. I don't even have any advice for this video. No advice. I'm just hang in there, champ. What do you want? Like, you know, I guess on a more positive note, at least we know, both millennials and Gen Z know that in the future, something's gotta give. Like at least hopefully we're making the changes now that we realize how effed up things are in the country right now, that in the future, you know, we'll be voting properly. We will be voting for our best interest, for our offspring's best interest, for the generations ahead of us next best interest. And hopefully that will make things better. Yeah, it's just really tough. You gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. But if anybody's struggling and going through life right now, dealing with how hard the economy is, how difficult it is to afford things or a layoff, can you leave a comment of advice underneath this video so we can all just get through it? Like I said, things are a lot better now that I'm no longer laid off and I have a job and I feel secure at my job and I like it a lot, but I just, you know, you never know. We're going through a silent recession, but nobody's talking about it. It might get worse. They might not tell us it's gonna get worse, but yeah, that's how the cookie crumbles. And it's almost getting to the point where I'm just kind of over politics. Ooh, that's for another video. But yeah, anyway, let us know in the comments what you're doing to cope with this tumultuous economy. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like what I'm talking about, if you like the vibes over here. As always, do not forget to drink some water. And yeah, I think that's it. Bye, my loves.